Alright, we are live. Mostly just a bit of testing at this stage. We're still in the practice phase. So, what have we got? We've got about 16-ish minutes of practice left to go. Then we get into qualifying. Currently riding on board with Mattia of RRC. Beautiful red and white car. Just letting all these drivers get in all their practice. The rain's stopping now, thankfully. Lap times will start falling by quite a lot. Current two fastest, we've got Bill from Slipstream and Stahu of Semi-Slick Racing. We've got two Semi-Slick Racing cars in the top three currently. Cavallor and Stahu, both on a 151. We've got the top four so far on a 151. Dun Dun Gizmo, the winner of the prologue race, and fifth with a 152.4. Got the SSR cars running in a bit of a convoy here, showing off their beautiful green livery. It's a beautiful track, this Termas De Rio Hondo in Argentina. Very wide track. There's a lot of lines. It can be quite tricky to find the line you think is correct. Times are starting to fall now since the rain stopped and it's getting drier and drier. So we've got Prue with that 10 tenths liveried car. Current fastest. Oh, he's already been taken over by Minimus of MVRC. It's just going to keep falling and falling and falling since it's dry now. Gives us a chance to look through a good bunch of these people. Black, blue and red of MVRC. Minimus and Pete representing MVRC tonight. Second place runner so far is Prue in the 10 tenths car. Risotto in the beautiful yellow, black and white car of SRGP. I'm a sucker for yellow myself. Oh, he just manages to hold on to the car there. Oh, I spoke too soon. He's lost it. Checking out the Slipstream livery of Bill here. Currently running in fifth with a 151.7. I do love the checkered flag design. And the track style logo they have on the hood there. Quite slick. Not overdone. Being dominated by white is always a bit classy, in my opinion. Oh yeah, she's definitely drying out now. We're down to a 143 already. Stahu and SSR. These times will start coming down even more and more. We're probably going to be looking at around the 140 / sub 140 for a fully dry time. Massive straight down here. I expect these guys to be running 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide on the opening lap. Look how wide that track is. It's just going to allow for all sorts of things to go on. People are going to need to be pretty careful though. Let's check out everyone I want to look at's in the pits. No, let's have a look at Evil Noodle here with that Nomads Racing Team livery. Very, very stealthy. Black with the orange stripes. Looks aggressive. Looks fast. Evil Noodle currently in 9th with a 151.8. No representative dry times for Evil Noodle yet. Frano managing to put himself up into P2 with a 143.7. Starting to get dry pace on for him now. Beautiful blue and white AMS2 livery. Let's check out Dun Dun Gizmo from the Racing Engineers, and the blue, orange and yellow stand out. Dun Dun Gizmo, the winner in Server 2 for the prologue race. So expect big things from Dun Dun Gizmo. Currently the fastest runner with a 1:41.7 after that attempt. Take a look at Glenn here. Glenn in the KCSR livery. KCSR with the big, bold KCSR on the side, the blue and the purple and the white. It's a nice combo. We've got Glenn and Savage Paddy both running for KCSR tonight. Got Sai in the chat. Hello, hello, and hello to you too. Joining us for this beautiful race, hour-long race, currently in practice at Termas De Rio Hondo in Argentina, driving the Ultima GTR. Ultima GTR, approximately 1,100 kilos, around about 550 horsepower. Big V8 in the back. Feels very much like an overpowered, oversized go-kart. Very easy to step the back end out, but also still quite controllable. This is a very wide track. It's going to be really fun for these guys tonight. I got an hour of trying to keep this thing on the track for their teams. Currently riding on board with Glenn of KCSR. Where is Grumpy at? You may be referring to I can't quite remember the one, but I remember it from the prologue, and I do think Grumpy is in Server 1 this time around. This being Server 2. You can find the link to Server 1 on the same YouTube channel as this one. Let's take a look at Chris Bloom of Club 50. I'm a big fan of this Club 50 livery. The blue and the orange of golf, the golf colours. Always timeless, always beautiful. Oh, we've joined him at the wrong time. Seen him just go around there. That's what you do in practice though. That's why we practice. Let's jump on board with Raptor from RPM. He's on that same straight. He's managed to keep it on the track though. Got the classic blue and orange colours of RPM League. Both Neon Dream and Raptor representing RPM tonight. Jumping on board with Tom, who's just teleported himself back to the pits. You'll remember Tom from the prologue, struggling to keep the car on the track when the rain came down. Yeah, Sai, yeah, have a good one. Jump over to Server 1 and check out the action there. Cheer on Grumpy. Enjoy the racing. Let's check out Lag Slug of 10 tenths. He's currently just behind Stahu on track, the current fastest time with a 140.5 for Stahu. Lag Slug with a 149.7, just getting himself in the zone. He may not have had too many laps outside of the rain so far. We are expecting some pretty shocking weather in the race. I think it's supposed to start out raining and dry up. A little bit like this practice session. These cars won't do the whole race on one tank of gas. They will need to pit stop for fuel at some point, and they'll obviously need to change their tyres too, because if the race starts wet and dries out, they're definitely going to need to put some slicks on at some point. So hopefully they're able to splash enough fuel in there when it does dry out to get to the end, so they don't need 2 stops. It will be something to keep an eye on. The new fastest time at the top for Mattia. Back in the pits now, but he's only a few hundredths in front of Stahu. It's going to be close in qualifying. We've got 3 cars all on that 140.5 range. The battle for pole could be quite heated. We've got just under 5 minutes left in this practice session before we head to qualifying. Now, qualifying is a private qualifying session in this event, so that means none of these drivers will have to deal with other cars on track during qualifying. Quite a bit of a privilege there, not having to deal with traffic. It's all, in my opinion, it's all part of qualifying, having to manage gaps and whatnot. But if you don't have to do that, then you can just focus on going all out, which is what these guys have tonight. Just focus on all out pace and quali. So the top 3 times with a decent gap to 4th, which is currently Neon Dream for RPM. He's got a 141.1. He's about 6 tenths behind the top 3. Checking out Savage Paddy here, driving for KCSR tonight. He's on the big main back straight, the big wide back straight here. The braking zone here into turn 4, which is a bit of a hairpin. It's going to be a pretty good passing opportunity for these guys in this race. Big braking zone. And the straight is so wide, you can probably run like 5 wide if you want. I don't recommend 5 wide, of course. Maybe 2 or 3. This right-hand corner here that he's approaching now is quite a tricky one. It can be quite enticing to hold a bit more speed through there than you can and just run deep. And watch for that come race time. These guys going through this left-hand sweeper now, which can be quite hard to hold on to if you don't have a lot of downforce, which then leads you into this sort of curved braking zone for the final hairpin. Very tricky braking zone to get bang on, and often hard to know the exact line to be taking. There's more than one, obviously, but some are going to be better than others. Just under a minute left of practice. Last lap, 141.79 for Savage Paddy, was his fastest so far, as he decides that's enough. Let's go back to the pits. We've got Tom Goodwrench for the racing engineers, just leaving the pits now on an outlap. I like that number plate there, brake check. You want to watch out for these guys in the braking zones by the looks of it. Alright, that's time up for practice, so just waiting for all those currently on laps to finish them. And then we're going to get into quali. Exciting. Remember, it's a private quali, so we won't have the luxury of seeing all these cars everywhere. We will just be seeing the one that we're focusing on at the time. Quite nice for all these drivers not have to deal with all the traffic in qualifying tonight. Whoever set this event up was quite considerate in that regard. We've got Tom taking the pit entry here. It's quite a blind pit entry. You really do want to practice it. It's halfway through that final hairpin that you got to peel off to the left and enter. Alright, next up, qualifying. Practice there, we've got Stahu and Dun Dun Gizmo. SSR and the racing engineers, 1 and 2. Qualifying time now though. It's all getting serious. Let's jump on with Stahu. Fastest, or was he second fastest? I can't remember now. It doesn't matter. Practice does not matter anymore. It's all about qualifying, and it's properly competitive now. The times matter. Fighting for your position on the grid. 24 excluding me. My name's on the list, but I'm not racing. So 24 drivers in this race. So you really want to get a good grid position if you can. Where is... I am not going to attempt to pronounce that name. I'm sorry. My English, my English is strict. That's all I know. So, where is he? Pretty sure they're in this one. I did see that name earlier. Perhaps they've had an issue and they may be rejoining the server. Because I cannot see that name in the list at all. Let's take an opportunity to check out some of these beautiful liveries again. Riding on board with Stahoo in this green livery for Slipstream Racing. No, sorry, not Slipstream. I got that wrong. It's Semi-Slick Racing. I'll get there eventually with some of these guys. It's a beautiful livery. Checking out Pete with MVRC. Most people are on an outlap now. Ooh, Blue Fair. He may have the wrong livery, or he may not be racing for 10 tenths. So this can be a bit confusing sometimes. Lagslug definitely racing for 10 tenths. He's got the 10 tenths livery, and he's got the 10 tenths in his name. He's about to start his flying lap, or one of them at the very least. Let's now check our Raptor of RPM. It's quite a nice, beautiful, bold livery here with the orange and yellow gradient down the sides and the blue on the top. Very recognizable. Got Justine Mosey in the chat saying good luck. Yes, good luck to all drivers. This will be a tight race. There's a lot of quick people in this one. Everyone's very competitive in these races, so no free positions, that's for sure. Regarding the Italian driver comment, they were in the session a bit earlier. Are they back yet? Yes, they're back now. Up there in P2 on the board, although they don't have a time, but you can see they've rejoined. They must have just had an issue between practice and qualifying. But they are good to go, so that's nice. 25 drivers in the race. Got our first times coming in now. Chris Bloom of Club 50 with a 147.7 and Raptor with a 148.1. Times all starting to come down. We've got our first real representative time in. Who now? Stahoo and Mattia both with around that 140. Stahoo the first to go sub 1 minute 40. Everyone was around that 1 minute 40.5 in practice, with Stahoo coming out with a 139.7 right off the bat in qualifying. It's a bit of a statement lap time, that one. We've already got 5 cars behind them, all on a 1 minute 40. Can anyone fight for pole? Let's check out Tom for the racing engineers. He's currently on a 1 minute 42.3, but we know from the prologue a couple of weeks ago, that he was up there in the top bunch during quali and the race, so expect him to improve on that 142.3 quite significantly. Let's check out Mattia of RRC in the red and white livery. As they're opening up a lap here. Coming into this long, seemingly never-ending right-hander for turn 1. And then we go into a left-hander here. You then keep a little left as it veers to the right. You need to be hitting that apex just right. Without heaps of downforce, it can feel pretty sketchy. And then we've got this massive back straight, which leads us down to a pretty hefty braking zone into a tight right-hander. Going to see a few moves being done into this one. And out of here, we've got a long sweeping left, which is all full throttle. But then as it stops turning, you pretty much come into a hard right. And this right-hander can be quite easy to overshoot. You can be enticed into carrying a bit much speed in there. No problems for Mattia on this lap. Looking rather locked in. Coming through this small sort of sweeping section into this very fast left-hander, which leads us down into the final hefty braking zone of the lap, into the right-hand hairpin that leads us back to the main straight. It can be quite a tricky braking zone coming into this hairpin here. Is this going to be an improvement on Mattia's 140.4? Yes, it's a 140.2. Good work there for Mattia for RRC. Going to check out Risotto here with SRGP, the yellow, white and black livery. One of my favourites, this livery. But I just like yellow, so I'm probably going to be biased towards anything with yellow in it. Or purple. We've got the top 7 cars all on that 1 minute 40 or less now. Yeah, well and truly into the second half of qualifying now. Still waiting for someone to get a bit closer to Stahu in pole position. Well, he's not pole position, but he's currently leading. He's looking solid for pole position so far with that 139.67. Minimus the closest behind, approximately 4/10 back with a 140.1. It's a lot of time to make up. Andy's droning in sim racing in the comments. Good luck NRT. Yes, good luck NRT. You currently have Evil Noodle for NRT, currently sitting in 4th with a 1 minute 40.2. And then Andy Moore back in 8th with a 141.5. It's looking really good for NRT currently. 2 top 10 results so far. Let's see if they can keep that together by the end of qualifying. It's a beautiful livery though on the NRT car, the Nomads Racing team. I quite like the almost matte black look with the orange stripes. It looks quite aggressive. I would probably be intimidated seeing that come up behind me in my mirror. Less so when they spin. Let's go back to Evil Noodle with the 140.2. He is going to be trying his absolute best over the next 5 minutes to try to get down into that sub 1 minute 40 range. Got Raptor in the comments with a shout out there. Good luck, Raptor. I couldn't agree more, Raptor. Good luck to Raptor from Raptor. Raptor driving for RPM alongside Neon Dream. Looking at those times in the top positions, currently second and third, Dun Gizmo and Minimus, with exactly 1,000th of a second separating their times. Minute 40.119 and a minute 40.120. The difference between the front row and the second row being 1,000th of a second currently. Jump on board with Chris and we check out the Club 50 car with the beautiful Golf-esque livery. It's a timeless colour scheme, that one. Got about a minute left in qualifying. I'm just checking out Dun Gizmo here, as he's currently the closest to Stahu in provisional pole, though he is quite ghosted. I hope that changes soon, so it looks better. He may be about to start his final attempt at trying to take pole. We're right on board with Dun Gizmo. We don't have to see that horrible ghosted car, although we do have to see the latency issues that I am suffering being so far away geographically. So don't accuse Dun Gizmo of driving erratically. Accuse my internet of being too far away from everyone else's. MG Bud in the comments, good luck all. Go Slipstream with that checkered flag. Yeah. Go Slipstream. I do love the Slipstream livery with that checkered flag on it. It's classy, that's for sure. Currently with the best qualifier for Slipstream being Bill in 7th place. Top 10 is pretty good in a series like this, 25 starters. And the times are all very close. Especially when the top 11 are all in that 1 minute 40 range. Stahu currently the only driver in that sub 1 minute 40. Dun Gizmo on his last representative run, about to find out if he can do it on this last go. Not quite. Oh wait, was that it? 140? No, he did improve, but it wasn't enough. He improved by about a tenth, and so did Pete behind him. But just no one's competing with Stahu today, apparently. Good 3 to 4 tenths clear of the field. It's a dominant pole position for slipstream racing. Wait, no, semi-slick racing. I get slipstream racing and semi-slick confused. This is round 1 though. I'm sure by round 2, 3, I'll have it nailed. Don't worry. Still got 1 on track. Oh! 2 on track. But I dare say we won't be seeing too much in the way of change now. So well done to the front row. Starhu with a 139.6 and Dun Dun Gizmo with a 140 flat. Pete only a couple of hundredths behind Dun Dun Gizmo, but that's the difference between a front row and a second row. It's an all MVRC second row, with Minimus alongside him. And on the third row, we've got Matia for RRC and Evil Noodle for NRT. Fourth row, Slipstreams, Bill and Semi-Slick Racing's Capelor. That's 2 in the top 10 for Semi-Slick Racing. Oh, I left that practice logo on there like I did last time. It's alright, I'll get better with this as time goes on. So well done to everyone, especially your top 3 there, Starhu, Dun Dun Gizmo and Pete. Extremely close times. This racing is going to be quite hectic. The race starts off a bit wet as well. So turn 1 could be very interesting. Hold your breath. A really good result for MVRC there, locking out the second row. On for good points as a team there if they can keep it on the track in those pretty high up positions. With NRT and Semi-Slick Racing with two in the top 12. Dun Dun Gizmo, the winner from the prologue in Server 2, up there on the front row in race 1 for the official series. He's going to be a threat. I feel like if people can't fight Starhu going into T1, he may run away looking at that pace that he just seems to be able to find over everyone else. Although in the opening stages of the race, when it's quite wet, it could be anyone's game. People are going to be fighting for the grip on the right parts of the track. Drivers will just be having a small break at the moment before we get underway with the race. So it's an hour-long race. Should be somewhere in the mid-30s as far as lap count goes. And these cars won't make it to the end on 1 tank of gas. They will need to stop for fuel. They can probably do maybe 2/3 of the race to 3/4 on a tank, so they'll definitely need a splash. And the rain at the start is meant to dry out, so they'll probably need to swap their wet tyres that they're starting on for slicks as well. So depending on when it dries out, picking that time to put those slicks on could be quite crucial. As we saw in the prologue, there's often a very right or wrong time to pit for changing weather, and if you get it wrong, it's quite tragic. You can go from the front to the back. So drivers are all just readying up now. I've got a 2-minute countdown to get through. They will see the whole countdown because I will not be readying up. And then I have to try to get to the start of the race quickly. I think I can manage. Now, where to watch on lights out? That's the key. There's going to be so much going on. Starting to get nervous for these guys. Show some last minute support in the chat if you can. Alright, we're nearly there. Here we go. So eyes on Stahu here on the front row. Looks like he's got a good start. He should be able to hold that. Holy moly, that's a lot of cars. Let's check this view out, see how they all get on. Wow, this is extremely impressive stuff. Oh, we've got a spinner. Can we all avoid him? Ah, that's very unfortunate. Let's get back to the leaders. It looks like we've missed it, but Dun Dun Gizmo's managed to make a move on Stahu here as they come up to the long straight for the first time. Stahu's feeling the pressure with Minimus right on him too. Manages to cover that off and hold second place. Unfortunate spinner there early on, but it looks like not too many people were caught out by that. Very clean opening laps so far. Fingers crossed. Considering the conditions and how many cars we have on track. So it was an exceptional start for Dun Dun Gizmo there, starting on the front row, but in P2 he's managed to get himself up into P1 for the racing engineers early on here in lap 1. About to finish this first lap. Let's go back a little bit here. 7th and 8th, things are looking pretty close. This might be an attempt at a move. Ooh, not quite. There might have been a bit of contact there. But nothing in it really, just a little bit of elbows out stuff. Oh, and as I switched away, I've missed Carnage. I've somehow missed Dun Dun Gizmo suffering. Dun Dun Gizmo now down in 12th after starting in the lead. Unfortunately missed that action happening, but that gives Stahu the lead now. Can he pull a gap to Minimus and Pete? The MVRC team looming in his rearview mirror. Things starting to spread out a bit here. These conditions really sort of and really put things into perspective. It's quite difficult driving a car like this with all the power in the world in these conditions with very little grip. You cannot be too greedy on the throttle. Looks like we might have a little bit of a blockage here forming behind Kefalor in P6. It's about a 3 to 4 second gap between Evil Noodle in 5th and Kefalor in 6th, so everyone trying to make their way past here. Prue on the back of Kefalor. Frano for AMS2 just behind him. Frano is a little bit of a roadblock here, and I mean that as respectfully as possible, but he's got 4 cars just about tied to his gearbox. Dun Dun Gizmo desperately wanting to recover some of those positions that he's lost after leading on the opening lap. He's trying to be a menace in Frano's mirror here. Is Dun Dun Gizmo going to be able to get something done here down into the turn 4 braking zone? Let's ride on board with Dun Dun Gizmo for a bit here and see if he can make a move on Frano. He's going for it. And it's clean. He's got it done. Well done, Dun Dun Gizmo. There's another spot. He's back up to P8 now. 10 seconds between Dun Dun Gizmo and the lead. But we're still very early on. We're only 5 minutes into this hour-long race, so plenty of time to make up that loss that he suffered early on. Meanwhile, Minimus now just over a second back from Stahu in that semi-slick racing car. See, Mattia has managed to get between Pete and Minimus. So Mattia for RRC now running in third in that beautiful red and white livery. NRT, the 5th runner in this top group. 5 out of 5 for him. And then there's a couple of seconds back to Kefalor. Seems to be struggling in these early stages for overall pace. But he's able to make a gap back to P7 though. So he's just running a little bit on his own, a bit out of stress at the moment, which is nice. Dun Dun Gizmo in that 8th place. Now trying to close up that gap to Prue. As I say, close up that gap, he's trying to fight him through turn 1. But just struggling to get on the throttle. Is he going to be able to go for another move here into that turn 4 braking zone like he did on the previous lap to Frano? Just watching Dun Dun Gizmo try to make his way through the field there. What happened there? Prue has gone around. I didn't see what caused that. It could have just been on throttle. But that's given Dun Dun Gizmo P7 as Frano's trying to come back on him. But he's going to get hung out to dry on the outside there. So that's P7 solidified for Dun Dun Gizmo. Well done. He did drop back to P12 after that. So to have gained back 5 positions already is showing some serious pace. As our top 5 group continues to pull away from Kefalor in P6. Semi-Slick Racing will be pretty happy so far with a P1 and a P6. That's great points. So just checking out Evil Noodle here. He's at the back of this top 5 bunch. But that gap to Kefalor in 6 is just growing and growing. The front running pace is very fast. Let's go back to the middle of the field a wee bit. Check out some of these guys battling over P11. Got Lagslug, Laurie, Mick Guillama for RRC, Raptor for RPM, Ricky Risotto, Pedro for Club 50, all within about a second. Oh, slight contact there, but nothing in it. That's just good hard racing. And he's made the move. That fighting has given Lagslug a little bit of a gap. Raptor going for the move. Couldn't quite get enough of his car down there on the inside. Well done to both drivers for keeping it on track. Well, Raptor's lost positions overall out of that. Lost one to Laurie of Slipstream. And they are going to be battling all the way down to this final hairpin by the looks of it. Oh! As Pedro's gone around for Club 50. I think we've lost someone. We lost Pete from the leading 5 bunch, unfortunately, by the looks of it. He's now right in behind Dun Dun Gizmo as they both try to make their way back up. Dun Dun Gizmo up into P6. But the top bunch is now a top 4. Slowly becoming a top 3 if Evil Noodle starts to drop back any more than this. But we currently have Stahu, Minimus and Mattia in the top 3. Minimus currently able to keep the pressure on Stahu. There's only a half a second gap for the lead. Your race leaders here. Weather is brightening up a little bit. I dare say it might even stop raining soon. It's going to be really interesting to see who gets that decision right on when to box, when to put the slicks on. As we've seen in previous races, it's so crucial. It's so crucial. Getting that decision right can make or break your whole race, no matter where you are on the grid. Let's go back a bit and check out Pete and Dun Dun Gizmo again. They've both managed to get in front of Capalor by the looks of it, who's now sitting right on the back of Pete in the MVRC car. We've got a little 3-way fight here for P5. Dun Dun Gizmo's managed to come out on top of it so far. He's got about 5-6 seconds to make up to Evil Noodle now. Oh, as I say that, he's had another spin. It goes from bad to worse for Dun Dun Gizmo. He's now right behind his teammate on track. They're running 9 and 10. Still not terrible positions when you think about it, but 2 spins for Dun Dun Gizmo. This could have been going much, much better. We know he's got the pace to be up there with the leaders. But Stahu and Minimus won't mind one bit. Your current leaders. Top 4 have quite the gap. And that top 4 is becoming a top 3, and that top 3 might even be becoming a top 2. Both Mattia and Noodle starting to show signs of struggle in matching this pace of the top 2. We've got a 2.5 second gap from Mattia to the leader, and it's about 6 seconds for Evil Noodle. Let's run in the back here a little bit and check out how crazy some of this action is. We've currently got Raptor trying to make a move on Grandpa Bear for P18. I think the rain might have stopped, you know. I think it's drying out quite a lot. Let's run on board with Minimus. Minimus has taken the lead, and Stahu has gone. He's gone into the pits early. Now, is this the move? Because he's followed in by Noodle. Is Evil Noodle making the same call here, or is he just trusting Stahu's decision making on getting it right, and this is the lap to do it? It still looks quite wet. There's a lot of spray coming off these cars, but we did see in the prologue that if you delayed the decision, then you were on the wrong tyre pretty quick. So this could be quite the move. Let's see what position these guys come out of the pits on. It's only a splash and a tyre change, so the pit stop wasn't too long. Evil Noodle and Stahu coming out in P7 and P8. Oh, maybe not. They've got Glenn up on the inside of them. Still on the wet tyre. Let's see how these guys get on the slick tyre. There's going to be a bit of an adjustment period as you figure out what grip you've got. But they're obviously feeling it's drying up a lot. I'm going to jump back on board with the leader, Minimus here. He's still got about 3 seconds over Mattia. Let's just see as he comes into the final hairpin. Is he going to box on this lap, or is he going to keep going? He's going to keep going, but he's made a crucial mistake. Mattia's going to the pit. Minimus carrying on. This might be too late. We'll see. Minimus obviously Mattia believes it's the right time to box as well. Frano, Pete, Andy, Tom, all coming into the pit now. This should see Starhu able to take the lead reasonably convincingly once Minimus does pit. Because Starhu obviously has good pace here. He's able to really wrangle that car around the track, even though there is still a bit of water out there. So he may have nailed this decision. Or maybe not actually. Mattia has come out in front of Starhu, so it might have been, the right decision might have been that lap later. Although, in saying that, Starhu's tyres should be in a better condition now, more up to temperature, more ready to go than Mattia's. So this, even though it says 2 and 3, is realistically the battle on track for P1, after Minimus had that spin at the final corner, and he's still out on the wets. Starhu looks like he's struggling to get the power on, actually. Maybe it was a bit too early for the slicks. Let's take a look and see what Minimus does here. Is he going to pit now? Yes. He's into the pits. Be interesting to see where he filters out after this, after he had that spin, but it did look like staying on those wets a little longer was the right move after we saw Mattia get that gap on Starhu. So Mattia with a few seconds over Starhu now. Let's see if he can come out in the net lead of this race. I think he's going to quite easily. That spin was cost quite a bit there for Minimus, I think. Yeah, so he may still be able to hold third here, but it's going to be close. Let's check out the view for Evil Noodle, because he is going to be probably battling with Minimus on pit exit. Not quite. Minimus managed to get out in front, but his tyres aren't going to be quite ready, so Noodle should be able to put the pressure on here. Looks like just about everyone's pitting now. We've got both slipstream cars coming into the pits at the same time. Riding with Laurie at the moment, currently riding on board with Crew, in 13th place. Just overtook a bunch of people in the pits. Easiest way to gain positions, just drive past people that aren't even moving. Oh, we have a car off the side of the track there as P3 and P4 go past. Check out the battle just behind the leaders, because we have P5 and P6 fighting pretty hard. That's Frano and Pete. AMSU versus MVRC in the battle for 5th. Looks like we have a little fight going on for P14 and P15. That's Mattia and Raptor. No, not Mattia, sorry. His teammate and Raptor, both fighting for RRC and RPM. Oh, I spoke too soon. Raptor's gone off the track, but it's not too disastrous. It hasn't resulted in a spin, but he's now in between both of those SRGP cars. I'm going to go back to the second from the front battle. That's P3 and P4. Noodle and Minimus are just about glued together at this point. They're both being quite respectful though. There's a long way to go. We're still not even halfway in this race. Any crazy contact now could throw it all away. Stahu and Mattia have a pretty good lead. They've got about 6-7 seconds over this battle. There's nearly 2 seconds between them, so no real battle on the track. And Stahu has managed to get himself back in front. Oh, side by side here. Minimus and Noodle. Evil Noodle going for the outside line, hoping for a bit of a cutback. Looks like there's still quite a bit of water on some parts of that track, and if you keep yourself a bit offline, you're really going to struggle for traction. A few puddles. Oh, battle for the lead, spicing up. Stahu managed to get the lead off Mattia, but Mattia is not letting go. They are glued together. The battle for the lead is 2 tenths apart. Got moves being made in front of them, although they're a lap down. No moves there. Mattia doing everything he can to keep the pressure piled on. They're about to come up to a bit of a bundle here. Cars off track. No one in the way though. It's good to see. Just going to run on board a little bit with the battle for P9. We've got Capalora for Semi-Slick Racing trying his hardest to hunt down Andy Moore of the Nomads Racing team. Oh, car there in the middle of the track. Both drivers doing excellently to avoid and drive past that roadblock. Fighting into the final hairpin here. I feel like currently there's really only one line in this hairpin because there's water offline. So if you try to take something non than the standard dry line, you're just not really going to get the grip. Whoa. Good fighting here between Andy Moore and Capalora. Good respectful battling. Just want to check out the leaders a bit here because it looked like they had some traffic, but the traffic's gotten out of the way. Stahu now with a lead of just over a second on Mattia. Looks like Frano and Pete in P5 and P6 are actually gaining on the third place battle of Minimus and Evil Noodle. Only a few seconds off the back of that battle. You can can see Noodle there in the top of the shot. Going back to the battle for P9 as Capelor's trying to chase down Andy Moore. Stay away from those puddles. We'll go back to the battle for P3. Because Evil Noodle is keeping the pressure piled on Minimus here. Minimus was contending for the lead earlier on, but managed to just have a bit of a spin during the crucial pit stop phase, which sees him now 8 to 9 seconds off the leading battle of Stahu and Mattia for RRC and Semi-Slick Racing. Evil Noodle's trying to keep the pace piled on, trying to keep Minimus moving forwards if he's not able to get past. The battle for P5 is still sizzling away with Pete M and Frano. I believe Frano was ahead just before, so it looks like Pete may have made his way through. Dun Dun Gizmo down in 7th place, about 8 seconds behind this wee battle. But that's not too bad for Dun Dun Gizmo. He's had, I think, 2 or 3 spins so far in this race, so to still be running in the top 10 is pretty good work. Shows the good pace that he has when the car's in a straight line, you know, and it's not turning around on itself. We're riding on board with Ricky and Bill, SRGP and Slipstream. Oh, they're going side by side into T1. A little bit of contact there, but nothing in it. A little bit of rubbing, that's all part of it. And Ricky's got the move done for Slipstream. But Bill's still hanging on to him. Is he going to be within striking range to throw a reply move back at turn 4? Whoa! He's looking for somewhere. Sneaky. Not sure if I like that tactic. Looks a bit sketchy, but certainly keeping that pressure piled on, and Bill resilient to that pressure so far. We've got a few positions back, and the other Slipstream car of Laurie is in a fierce battle with Lag Slug of 10 tenths. Both Slipstream cars engaged in battle. Alexandra in the chat here to support Raptor. Raptor currently running approximately midfield. Oh, I've clicked the wrong person. There we go. There's Raptor for RPM. Currently running on his own a wee bit, but in a solid 14th place in the midfield. We're going to jump back on board with Noodle here as he's still right on the back of Minimus, not letting Minimus's pressure ease at all. Got a half an hour of this to go. We've pretty much hit the halfway point now. I know I'd be feeling pretty intimidated if I was Minimus. That black and orange striped NRT car looks pretty intimidating. I don't think these cars are going to have to be making another pit stop between now and the end, but some of those guys that stopped really early may be doing a bit of fuel saving, bit of lift and coast, or they may need to do a splash and dash for a bit of extra fuel. Time will tell. We'll only know near the end of the race. Let's jump on board for a little bit with the leader. Currently got about a 2.5 second lead over Mattia, the beautiful green semi-slick racing car. Now, it may look a little bit jittery on the onboard views, but that's not the driving. That's just the internet connection for me being geographically far away from the hosted server. So it's just a bit of a latency issue. The driving is perfect though. It's a beautiful sound on the V8, about 550 horsepower, only just over a ton in weight for the Ultima GTR. Very much an overpowered go-kart. So it's impressive seeing these guys just keep this car on track, especially in those earlier conditions where it was raining and the track was soaked. Still a few small puddles around, mainly offline. Ooh, looks like Evil Noodle has made a mistake. He's no longer in that battle with Minimus for P3. Unfortunately missed that. But he's now a few seconds off the back of the Pete M and Frano battle for 4th. And Minimus has no one in front of him or behind him. Just has to maintain some pace now and try to drive 25 minutes to the end and hold that P3. I think trying to close that 10-second gap to P2 might be a bit much to ask for Minimus, unless the leaders have an issue. And that's Mattia I'm talking about currently, because Stashu seems to be starting to run away. He's now got a 3-second gap on Mattia. It may just be that they're pushing so hard and he's just struggling to maintain that pace as the focus loss starts to creep in. The mental aspect starts to degrade. So unfortunate there for Evil Noodle. The battle's still very much on between Pete M and Frano. And we do still have plenty of other fights on track. We've got Lag Slug for 10 tenths, trying to chase down Raptor of RPM. Go Raptor. Go Lag Slug. That's the fight for 14th at the moment. And P16 and P17 aren't exactly very far behind. You can see them in shot there. So we've got nearly a 4-car battle here after half an hour, which is quite good. Most of the field's pretty well spread out, as you can see on the map. Apologies for that map sort of jumping around occasionally and the timing, but it just seems to be a little bit of a AMS2 thing. So one of the last real battles we have on track is the one between Pete and Frano, and even that one's starting to spread out a little bit now. Pete managing to hold about a second lead over Frano now. Evil Noodle still a few seconds off that. But we know he's got the pace. He was fighting with Minimus most of the whole first half of the race really. So he's got the pace to get on the back of Frano and Pete, that's for sure. He could still be in for a podium here. Let's check out how Dun Dun Gizmo's going for the racing engineers. Dun Dun Gizmo's had a bit of an up and down race, bit of a roller coaster ride. He's had so much pace, but just a few early spins sees him out of that top 2 fighting position. He did hold the lead on lap 1, but just not quite to be. Now 36 seconds off the lead. Let's jump back on board with Raptor, because this battle between 14, 15, 16 and 17 is heating up. We've got a little wee peloton forming here. 2 Raptor cars, Neon at the back. And Slipstream, as he's pulling out of the Slipstream to make a move on Raptor. He gets it done. It's a clean move. Now you got both the RPM cars of Raptor and Neon Dream running line astern. Oh, Raptor's not giving up, but he kind of has to. He's on the outside of a long sweeping left, so he's going to run out of pace quite quickly there. Is he going to try to come back into this braking zone? He is. Not giving up. What a battle. He has to concede in the end. He just doesn't have the track position or the right line to really stick that one through. You got both the Raptor cars riding next to each other. Don't hit each other, guys. That's the one rule you don't want to do. Don't hit your teammate. Neon going for a move on Raptor, though. He gets it done. That could have been coordinated. Could have been Raptor letting Neon go to see if he can have a go at Laurie from Slipstream. But a team tactics there. See who can do the job. Was the last real pack of racers we have on the track, and they're actually being caught by the SSR leader of Stashu. There you can see him in the background. That's the race leader. These guys are probably going to want to get out of the way of the leader sometime soon. Let's ride on board with Stashu for a bit here and see how he deals with this traffic that is fighting for position, may I remind you. So they want to fight each other, but they also don't really want to get in the way of the leader. It's a fine line. It's a fine line to walk. And you don't want to be too generous with letting the leader go by, because that may lose you positions to the people you're fighting. So it really is a fine line. It can be quite difficult to know when to go for that kind of thing. But this is significantly more pace, noticeably under braking there. defending. I'm not sure defending from the leader lapping you is a very good idea. Well managed from all drivers there. Certainly a tricky aspect of racing, that's for sure, managing traffic, whether you're the one trying to go through it or whether you're the one trying to let it through. You really don't want to be losing time, and that's always the hardest part, is trying not to lose time while letting cars go or getting through cars. So about a 4-second lead still to Stashu over Mattia. Evil Noodle looks like he's managed to close that gap up to Frano in P5. So he's not out of the fight here for probably P4. Minimus in P3 is just a bit far ahead. But if he can really get cracking, he might be able to get P5 and then P4, the Nomads Racing team. Going back to this battle in the midfield. P13, P14 and P15 now. He's right on board with P15, Neon Dream. He's got Lag Slug of 10 tenths directly in front of him. And Ricky Risotto of SRGP in front of him. He's letting the leader go. He wasn't going to try anything. He's just happy to let the leader go no matter what in that situation. Oh, we've got a Slipstream car off track there. That was Bill of Slipstream, unfortunately, losing some spots. Now he's down to P18. This could be a really good result for MVRC here, currently running in 3rd and 4th. It's going to be a really big points haul for MVRC. Notably, the racing engineer sitting in 7th and 8th as well. It's good for both drivers. Obviously, Semi-Slick Racing in 1st place with Stashu, and Capilor in P9. So that's good points for them. We're back with Evil Noodle, who's behind Frano still. Let's go to P1 and look at the massive line of cars in behind him. Look at them all. Now they aren't fighting him for position, they've all just let him through. So he's done a good job to get through there. He's managed to extend his overall lead to P2 in the process. Now out to just over 4 seconds. See how Mattia's going to get on, trying to get through the same traffic. Oh, they're really fighting. We've got one getting out of the way without question, and then the other two are fighting to this apex. He really wants to get past these guys without losing any more time to Stahu. He's lost about half a second so far. It's not ideal. He's managed to clear them. So he's now at overall 4.2, so no real massive loss overall. Managed to get through that traffic nicely. That's your P2 driver, Mattia. You can see P1 just in the distance up there, approaching the final hairpin. Let's check out the battle for P8. It's got Tom just ahead there in the Racing Engineers livery, with Kefalor in the Semi-Slick Racing green chasing him down. Both fighting for P8 here. Looking for somewhere to get by. Thought about putting a move down there, but might have been just a little too far back to really attack on the brakes. Gonna have another chance at T4. The big braking zone after the big back straight. So coming up onto that back straight now. Kefalor's able to get a bit of a draft, a bit of a slipstream here. He might be able to attack on the brakes into turn 4. Fighting for that draft. Oh, he's going. He's attacking. He's gone deep. He's gone too deep. Tom's going to run away. Unsuccessful move, and he's lost a position. No, sorry, he isn't. That's a back marker. But he's certainly lost a few seconds to Tom now. We're going to go back to this battle for P4. We're riding with Frano, who's P5 for AMS2. He's got Evil Noodle of NRT behind and Pete M of MVRC in front. These guys have been really clean all race. I think Pete M had a little incident earlier on, but he's managed to get himself back into that leading battle. Not quite the top 3, but not far off it. Is Frano going to go for a move? Is he close enough for a move? He's not. Just tempting me with some excitement. We've got another real battle on track. That's the battle in the midfield there. And there's now, if we go the onboard view, yeah, look at that. If we go one further back, we're on board with lag slug of 10 tenths. And he's got 4 cars directly in front of him. This is completely a battle for position. None of these guys are back markers amongst each other. This is a proper fight for position between 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. And you've got Minimus behind them in P3. He really wants to get through to not lose any more time to Mattia and not lose any more time to Pete M in behind him. He does have a good 10 seconds either way though, so he's certainly not anywhere near as much of a hurry as some of the other guys on track. But the more he gets caught up in this, the more time he will lose, because they are constantly battling. The lap times are going to be suffering a lot with that much fighting. So Pete will start to close that gap if he can't get through. This is really bringing Pete, Frano and Evil Noodle potentially back into the fight for a podium if Minimus can't get past these guys soon. That's 2. He has lost a couple of seconds to Pete. He's got a couple more in front to get by. Let's check out the view from Lag Slug. Got Raptor directly in front. Well, Raptor and Neon playing some games here. Bit of teamwork. lag slug in between 2 RPMs here. We've got a 10/10 sandwich. And RPM is the bread. Oh, 3 wide. Neon might have gone a little bit deep to hold that, but he's done enough to hold it. His lag slug going to be able to get by Neon here. Yes, well done. It's quite a fierce battle here between these three. Let's go back to the battle for P4. Frano's still right on the back of Pete M. Evil Noodle looks to have dropped off a couple of seconds from the back of Frano. Less than 10 minutes to go now. That gap between P1 and P2 of 4 seconds hasn't really changed a lot. Stahu just managing to, well, manage that gap, I dare say. They are not under threat by any means from Minimus in third. It's really the Stahu and Matthias show for P1 and P2. They've been on very similar pace the entire race, but after Stahu was able to get past Matthias after the pit stop phase, he hasn't looked back. He's just steadily built that gap to where it is now, about 3/8, 4 seconds. Frano's quite close here. Potentially a move. No, doesn't go for the move. He was very close, but potentially Pete's just a bit too good on the brakes for him to go for a move into T4. KCSR car just staying out of the way of the leaders there. Very polite. So this battle for P4 and P5 is now caught up in the battle for P13. So you got 2 separate battles here, but they're all on the same part of the track. Not ideal. So just ahead of Pete M, we have the 16th place driver, which is Slipstream. That's Bill. Then ahead of him is the Neon Raptor and Lag Slug battle for P13. So 2 separate battles on the same part of the track, basically. It may just be a case of drive to the finish here. There's no real gains to be made for any of these guys, except for the positions around them. Let's jump back on board with Mattia and go to the onboard cam, and let's just see how fast Stahu is ahead when it comes to what the driver can see. Oh, he's very much still in sight. That's got to be oh so tempting, you know, just a little bit more push might be able to close that gap up. Or is Stahu just managing what it takes to win? Second place Mattia for RRC. I'm going to jump on board with P15. Looks like he's just let Pete of MVRC go through, but Brano is stuck behind a couple of the back markers too, so this is major gains here for Pete, being able to get past a couple of back markers without having Frano come through with him. He's now got 3 to 4 seconds on Frano because of it. You can see Frano there and behind the RPM car, and Pete there just in front of the Slipstream car. So Pete, the big gainer there, doesn't have to worry so much about Frano now with 5 minutes to go. Evil Noodle trying to work his way through the traffic in P6 because he still has Frano in his sights. Frano might have fallen away from P10, but if Evil Noodle can get by the back markers, he could be in for a shout fighting with P5 in these closing stages. Oh, we've had a slipstream car go off. That was Bill. Very unfortunate for Bill there. That says KCSR slipped through in front of him into P17 now. Unfortunate there. Savage Paddy of KCSR. I think Savage Paddy's normally an MVRC driver, but he's filling in for KCSR tonight. He slips past Bill of Slipstream. So yeah, Pete the big gainer there. He's managed to keep pulling away from Frano since he's cleared most of that traffic. He's now caught up to a bit more traffic himself, but he's pulled out that gap. It's probably going to be too much for Evil Noodle or Frano to close up. Evil Noodle may struggle to close up to Frano now, but he's going to give it his best shot, potentially using the traffic to get through. Although both of these guys are now not really dealing with traffic. Let's check out Capelor in P10. It's about a second off Tom for the racing engineers. Not too many actual battles going on track now. Pretty much everyone's got some spacing between them. We've only got a couple of minutes left on the clock. What are we? We're on lap 33, so how many laps is that going to be? I would say 35. I've never been very good with mathematics, but if it's 35, I'm going to pat myself on the back. Wait, the leaders just started lap 34 with a minute 50 to go. Okay, no, it's going to be 36 laps. So yeah, we've got the leaders now on lap 34. Still got that 3.8 to 4 second gap between Stahu and Mattia for the lead. We haven't been watching too much of that battle because really hasn't been one. That gap's stayed steady for most of this race. This might be the closest actual race we have on track. Capelor and Tom, P9 and P10, separated by about a second. We do have P17 and P16 fighting as well. That's Glenn just behind Neon of RPM. Neon might have had a slight issue because he was running with Raptor just before. Now Risotto of SRGP is in front. I'm going to ride on board with Mattia here. You can still see that same gap to Stahu. So this is lap 34. Okay, the next one will be the last one, and that'll be lap 35. I don't know where I got 36 from. Told you I was bad at maths. So that's who started the last lap now. With 18 seconds left on the clock, so when they complete this lap, we're done. Let's ride on board with the leader. Let's check him out. This is the final lap. Ever since he got past Mattia after that pit stop phase, he hasn't looked back. Mattia managed to get a little gap on him, obviously timing the pit stop phase slightly better by 1 lap. But after the tyre temps settled and all the dust settled, Stahu managed to get past Mattia, and the gap's been about 4 seconds back ever since. Well, provided a disaster doesn't strike right now, we're going to see 1 and 2 come through the same way they have been most of this race. And Minimus, who's been solid the whole race too, he should be able to round out the podium. With Pete behind him in 4th. It's a great result for MVRC, both in P3 and P4. But we're looking at the race leader at the moment, as he does what he's done for the last hour, flawlessly drive around this circuit. Coming up to the final hairpin for the final time. Get the fireworks ready. Because that's well done to Stahu. As he crosses the line in P1. Well done. Mattia comes through in P2. Minimus just coming around the final hairpin now. Provided disaster doesn't strike, and it's not gonna. He's gonna cross the line in P3. That's your podium. 3 different teams on the podium. What a drive. And we've got Pete, who managed to hold that P4 spot with all that pressure from Frano. Frano crosses the line. Evil Noodle coming through to cross the line. Dun Dun Gizmo. It's a good result for Dun Dun Gizmo to finish up in P7 after those early setbacks. He had multiple spins, so to still finish up in the top 10, it's quite a good result. Yeah, first 10 tenths car is about to come through. 8th position, that's Prue. We've got that final battle coming through now. Caffalor, Tom Goodwrench, and then Andy Moore, and behind him is Laurie in 21st. Wow, well done everyone. Crazy. Crazy racing. Well done to everyone. That was quite exciting. What a drive from Stahu and Mattia, to be honest. That gap stayed about the same the whole time. And they just dominated. Huge gap over P3. P3 had a huge gap over everyone else too, so well done everyone. I think we'll probably have some people come through for some post-race chats very shortly. I'll wait to see if anyone wants to come through into the broadcast room, and I'll get them on for some post-race chats, see how they get on. What a race from everyone though. The driving standards were good. There wasn't really any carnage, so to speak. A few people having spins, but very respectful racing. Just what we want to see. Looks like we've got the race winner and potentially Minimus coming to join us as well. So that's Stahu here with the race win. Congratulations! You look like once you managed to get past for the lead there after that pit stop phase, you managed to maintain that 4-second gap.
I'm afraid if you're saying something, you're not coming up as speaking on Discord.
Thank you very much for telling me that. I was basically just saying once you managed to get past for the lead after that pit stop phase, you managed to maintain that gap. How tricky was it? Give us your thoughts, please.
I mean, honestly, once it fully dried out, it wasn't too difficult. It was just a case of not binning it, which is not that difficult in the dry. I had an issue with a little flat spot on the front right, but I was managing fine with it. Still just about enough pace to hold off Mikhail in P2. But the start was really tricky. Initially I got like a massive performance drop to like 15 FPS off the start, and I just like went internally, oh god, it's not gonna go well. I lost a place, almost two. But then luckily done spun, so that wasn't too difficult. I made some mistakes on the transition as well when it was still intermediate conditions. But I wasn't the only one making mistakes. Like once it all cooled down and dried out, I was in a decent position. The worst thing I did, I don't know if you caught that on your stream, I spun like right before coming into the pits for that little S section towards the end of the lap, and I lost two places there. I initially I thought that could cost me the race, but luckily the rest was good enough.
Yeah, man, you did really well. So I did notice those, especially that start and then the loss of positions around that pit stop phase. But the way you were able to just sort of rein those mistakes in and then take the lead and then hold it there, very impressive. So well done. Who else do we have in here? We've got Mattia. That's second place. Well done, Mattia. So
Thank you.
you look to be maintaining that 4 second gap to Stahu pretty much that whole second half of the race. Just let us know how your race went. How hard were you really pushing?
Yeah. I saw that. Sorry for my language. I have few problems with the language, but I will try to speak. Statue has for all the time a good pace, and I did my best to catch him, but it was not so easy. But finally, I was very happy with the second place.
Yeah, well done. It was an awesome drive, and just to keep from making too many mistakes in those conditions is impressive. We also have Minimus. Just let us know how your race went, Minimus, because you were in quite the fight there for P3 in those early stages, but then when you got left alone, it looked like you were able to just sort of bring it home without too much pressure. So is that how you felt?
Yeah. The wet part of the race was surprisingly nice, and it felt like I could keep up with the Staku there. I went to pits one lap too late, so my wet tires were toast. I spun and lost a bit of time there. So after pits, it was like 10 seconds behind top two there, and I think we were doing pretty much same pace, but the guys were consistent enough to stay far ahead. And then I had some interesting backmarker things going on at some point. But
Yeah.
Evil Noodle, he really gave some pressure there until I think he made some mistake at some point.
Yeah,
But,
I managed.
Definitely kept me on my toes there.
I managed to miss most of the mistakes people were making, unfortunately. So I would look and someone was running up in the top bunch, and then all of a sudden they weren't anymore. But it was really good. A lot of people did really well to come back and make up some of those positions they lost. But like Stahu was saying, pretty much everyone was making the odd mistake, and you guys obviously just made far less than everyone else. So well done.
It was also really difficult to know when to change the tires because now we had more cars on the track, so the track was drying up much faster than in practice. And going too late, it means losing about 6 seconds per lap.
Yeah, I did notice that when I saw the first drivers pull into pit, which was, I think it was actually Stahu was the first.
I think I was.
Seems
It
to.
was. I will say it was a tiny bit too early. If I ran the race again, I would
Yeah.
have probably gone on the next lap.
Uh,
The time-wise, it was kind of similar, but it was really, really sketchy and difficult to stay on the road.
But the thing is that on wet tires, the next lap, they started to really get too hot and it was so
Yeah.
slippery. So
I
I
had that.
think it was better with dry tires. So you did
Yeah.
it perfect.
I had that same fall off of rear tires, the wets the lap before, and that's partially what made me spun into that. As like the last two laps I did in the wets, they were yellow to borderline orange, even in some places. So that's why I decided to go a bit earlier as well, because I knew the wets were just going to get horrible.
Well, it's always a very tricky decision to make and can often be very clearly right or wrong. So well done for getting it mostly right and coming away with the win. And unfortunate there for Minimus because, yeah, it did look like 1 or 2 laps a bit too late, especially with that spin on that hairpin. That really cost you the ability to keep fighting in the 1 and 2 spot. But you weren't really losing any time after that, so you definitely
It
had
would
that
have been
same
nice
top running
to
pace.
It would have been nice to battle with those guys there. But yeah, the spin was also quite fun. I don't think I had much speed there. But downshifting and then it just lost all the traction. It was like slow motion spin after that. Nothing to do you can do there.
No, awesome. Well, thanks heaps for joining me in the post race, and well done to you guys for epic points for your teams and the drivers' champs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, have a good one. All right, so that's us going to be ending said stream now. Have fun, everyone, and thanks for tuning in.